Why don't you start off, Elena, by just sharing like where you were before you started working with me and what like led you to Sacred Visionary?
Yeah. So I had been for maybe like 3.5, 4 years prior, already been like, starting to develop my intuition, starting to kind of unify internally the left and right brain thinking. And I was really, I guess, to put it shortly, on a quest for truth. And I was at a point, like right before I came across you, where in my search for truth, I started going down some like rabbit holes that left me feeling a little bit disheartened, left me feeling a little bit filled with despair maybe. And just, I was like, I know that we are not here to live like this. I know we're not here to be subject to all of this suffering and all of this like, evil agenda stuff and what have you. And I was like, okay, like universe, please send me answers. Like I want to know the truth of the truth, like truth with a capital T. And I was looking for, I think, a Lionsgate activation. And that's when I came up to your page and I started reading, all of the knowledge that you share and all of the practices that you do. And immediately I was like, wow, Lori seems like she really has truth with a capital T. Like immediately, like resonance wise, I knew that you'd be absolutely the right teacher for me. And because I just wanted to develop, I wanted to learn, and I was on a mission to kind of, get to the bottom of things and evolve as a person and like be a difference in the world. I didn't want to subscribe to the old ways of doing things. I think oftentimes, and I've seen this with a lot of my friends, like we get to a point where we realize what's not working, but we need help figuring out how to change it. So having that guiding light to teach you new things is so important.
There we go. Sorry, I muted myself because I don't want you. I have a fan on in the room and I didn't want, because, well, it's quite, when I'm not talking, that becomes more pronounced. But yeah, I love that. I totally love what you just shared. And then tell us a little bit more too about like, yeah, because you are definitely one of those people who's been doing the inner work. And I love that you said that part about not getting lost down the rabbit hole, because so many people can. You can really get, this journey is full with detours and derailments, and especially if you get lost down that whole conspiracy rabbit hole. I mean, that's a whole other story. But so tell us about your experience inside of Sacred Visionary Mentorship and how that has helped you and served you, and what are some of the breakthroughs and opportunities, like things that have happened for you from that.
Yeah, so much. Like I really went into it knowing that at a year mark, I would be a completely different person. Like that was my goal to myself, and that was my reason for joining. And as I said, like just gauging from all of the content that you had listed on your website, I was like, okay, this is like everything. It's like the manual for a soul's life on earth in a human body. I mean, what I love about your offering, Lori, is that it's very thorough. Like I'm a person who devours knowledge. And so your library to me was like Sue said yesterday, like a kid in a candy store. And there's so much wisdom in there that is like not available elsewhere. And if it is, it's kind of like, bits and pieces, and it's not like in an integrated way. And there you learn all about knowledge, like how things actually work. Like I think most people here will know that truth and then what we're told is true isn't always the same thing. And so like learning how the universe actually works, who we are, what we are, like why we're here, that is so important. But then, as you were saying earlier, and everything that you've touched on today is like pretty much some of the feedback that I want to share with everyone. So it's funny how everything aligns that way. But you can only take it so far on the mental plane. Like you can learn everything you want, but it's one thing to like be aware of it, and a whole other game to like embody it and really integrate it, and being like, okay, this is the concept, but how do I actually make it real in my life? And that's why the energy work that we do in your sessions is so, so key, because not only do you learn to feel energy and work with it and transmute your own internal things, but you also get to connect with yourself, and you get to connect with all of the amazing beings and collectives that help us. Like, we all are surrounded by all of the support all the time, and to like tangibly feel it. Like, there was one meditation we did when I was having like a really tough time in life, where you channeled Mother Mary, and just her coming through. It was about kindness and being graceful with ourselves, and just, you know, and that's been like the biggest lesson for me, honestly, is knowing that we're divinely supported, knowing that everything is okay, and like unplugging from the fear and the worry that is so rampant in our society, or has been in the past. So yeah, the energy work, learning how to communicate with these beings, learning how to work with the universal laws, to use your intention and use your conscience to create the change that you want. It's just the whole deal, like mind, body, emotion, spirit, everything.
I love that. I will say I've loved working with you so much, because you're one of those people who really you're into the deep dives like me. Like, we have that in common. And there were so many times you would ask stuff in the group and I'd be like, that is just such an awesome question. Like, we would be able to, like, the whole group was so uplifted, in my opinion, like from some of the questions that you asked that just wouldn't have been asked if you hadn't asked them. And because that's one of the most wonderful things about having so many beings who are with us in the non-physical, these higher realm beings, because they bring through information and energy. I love that you're talking about energy that we just wouldn't even know otherwise. Like, and that's the thing too that you said that I just also want to elaborate on. And I do this, like, I just start talking because I love this stuff, but it is so much more than mental. It's so much. You could read a gazillion books. You could read every book that ever exists, and you still wouldn't be enlightened, because real enlightenment, real transformation, real spiritual growth does not happen through the brain. It happens through the energy, the layers and levels of energy that you are. And it's only through direct experience. So when you were in the group and you were asking those questions, like we were bringing through channeling and we were doing practices, it was the energetic change that was happening, right? So how about and also one of my favorite practices, if it's okay that I say, we did this once with you and you were like, you really got it. We were asking a psychic question and I was like, I put you on the hot seat, remember? And I was like, okay, go into the center core of your being and ask. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And you did. And then like it's on recording. You come out and your face lights up and opens up. And you were like, do you remember this? That was so good.
Yeah.
You lit up like you got it.
Yeah.
So all right, I'm feeding you that. I don't mean to feed you the information, but so tell us about your psychic and your intuitive gifts, how that's helped you, or how have those grown?
It's just become so much clearer now. And I think I can really attribute the up-leveling to a very important first step, which for me at first was really you had to start off with self-love. And that's not something people really talk about or really understand. People think it's surface level, oh yeah, I love myself, blah, blah, blah. But no, it's so important because, as you said, everything is a mirror. And so if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, you can't have a good relationship with anything around you. And so to really look at what my needs were and look at what I was dealing with internally, and then just doing that inner work of coming to terms with everything, accepting everything, and just loving myself unconditionally was so important, because that was just it lifted so many things without even knowing, without necessarily pinpointing every single trauma or drama that I had from this life or others. It was just a blanket, everything is okay, I don't need to worry. Awesome. And then from there you get into the concept of oneness, and when you start to really incorporate that into your day-to-day, it's just, things just happen so naturally, so organically. You flow better, at least that's been my experience. I flow better with situations, with challenges, with relationships, and yeah, as a result of that upliftment, and of my now being able to vibrate higher. And that's just like a new baseline for me. It's like, you know, I was here before for reasons that I was aware of and also unaware of. And then I like up leveled to here where it's just, I feel so much lighter. And because of it, I can just talk to my guides all day, and I can just like come in and out of that higher consciousness more easily and get guidance as I need it. And so, yeah, just coming into alignment with my soul and my source, and just letting the divine flow through me is something that we talked a lot about. So embodying that has just opened up so much. So
that makes me so happy.
Yeah. It's even like I couldn't have even imagined. Like I knew I would change a lot. I knew I would grow a lot, but I didn't know what it would feel like or what it would look like. And right now I feel so in control of my life, which ironically came through releasing and surrendering.
Right.
Which is if you remember, like one of the last things that I was like really struggling towards the end of my year within the mentorship. So that was like a hard lesson that once I learned it, it was just like everything dissolved and started just going so well.
I'm so glad. That makes me so happy. I'm so glad. What would you say to anyone who was considering joining Sacred Visionary Mentorship?
I would say that it's probably the best investment you can make, because what else can you buy that gives you this liberation, is a word that came up recently. This freedom, this knowing, this empowerment. Like it's kind of like investing in the key to unlock all doors. You know, it's not like you're gonna, it's like it's the master key. A process like this, honestly, like an investment with infinite returns, because if you really put in the work, I mean, as with anything, like I would say that I got so much out of it because I put in so much into it. And I had really good intentions, and I was like, you know, doing all the work and glued to the audio recordings, listening to them all the time, integrating, taking notes, practicing, and it paid off big. So
I'm so glad. On our last call, we were having like a total love, you know, a love fest, because it really is. It is so transformative, and you can't even imagine when you're going into it. But because you put so much, you were willing, you showed up. And that's what I've said at the beginning of every one of these calls. Like, make a commitment to yourself to show up, to receive what you're meant to receive, because you did that and you really, really did benefit. I'm so glad. Well, I love you. I know we have another call next week, so I'm going to get to see you and work with you again. And I just want to thank you so much for being here and for sharing, because it really does help people, you know, to hear other people's experiences, and it helps people who are not sure or uncertain about their next steps. And I get that a lot. Like, people just don't know, and they need, like, you know, they just need to hear from other people. So thank you for sharing and being your brilliant, beautiful best self today.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to share, and thanks for everything.
Yeah, thank you, Elena.